Good morning, Senator Bennett. My name is Liz Edsel. I am a graduate social work student at Arizona State University. I have worked in child welfare over the past 10 years and have firsthand knowledge of the system. I'm here as a dedicated advocate for child welfare reform. Thank you for the opportunity to meet with you today. I'm here to discuss with you a flaw in how our federal welfare mandates are implemented at the state level. The Expedited Permanency Planning Policy, also known as EPP, is supposed to facilitate movement within the system so children under 6 years of age can find permanency. While we all share the same goal of finding a permanent home for children, this timeline is unintentionally punishing families for being poor rather than being safe. I am here to propose a resource contingent pause that can reform the current policy. As I said, there's a strict 12-month policy that Colorado adopted from the Adoption and Safe Family Act. This permanency clock starts once the child enters the system, and there is pressure from the courts to find permanency as quickly as possible, and that does not always mean a return home. What this policy does not consider is the structural blindness within the system. It assumes that if parents can't fix the issues that led to the removal within 12 months, they are unfit. As Phillips and Mann have noted, families dealing with poverty and limited resources are fundamentally disadvantaged by these rigid timelines. For example, a mother who enters the system has a 12-month timeline to reunite with her child, but then has to wait 3 to 4 months to get into treatment, 6 or more months for housing, and then goes on another wait list for childcare, all while trying to balance visits, employment, and court dates. It's an impossible task for anyone, let alone someone who is in poverty with limited resources. This is creating a poverty trap where the clock runs out before the state can provide the help it mandated. This policy also ignores the systemic inequities and structural barriers that disproportionately impact marginalized families. The Colorado Office of Respondent Parents Council wrote a letter in 2023 stating that our system is significantly more likely to create legal orphans among Black, Native American, and Latino families. These are children whose parental rights have been terminated but who remain in the system without a permanent family. Children of color are already disproportionately overrepresented in the foster care system, and this timeline is keeping these children in the system. By prioritizing administrative speed over family integrity, we are violating a fundamental human right, which is that of family preservation. As Reich argues, true social justice requires distributive justice. When states use coercive power to separate a family because of resources the state itself is struggling to provide, this is a failure of the system, not the parent. Senator Bennett, the solution I am proposing is a resource contingent pause. This reform puts the responsibility back on the state rather than the family struggling in the system. If the barrier for a child to reunite with their family is housing, the state must prioritize the family when sitting on a wait list. Under this reform, if a parent is compliant with their treatment plan but is on a wait list for childcare or a housing voucher, the 12-month clock stalls. This will put pressure on the state to work with agencies to get people on wait lists and prioritize the well-being of the children languishing in the child welfare system. Senator, as a member of the Finance Committee, you have the power to influence federal policymaking process and to protect these families. I am asking that you take action and support federal funds to be used for emergency housing and childcare stipends to prevent family separation. I'm hoping that these funds can come from the Title 4E funds, the federal funds that help fund child welfare systems. This will allow funding for families that are already struggling with multiple systems and force the state and agencies to clear wait lists. By taking this action, You can help us move toward a system that truly values family integrity and family preservation. These wait lists have to end in order for our families to get the help that they need and not stay in a poverty trap, as I mentioned before. Thank you for your time and your commitment to helping families across Colorado.